Hello everyone, thanks for joining me again today for another session of Me Programming Daily. I'll be working on these pesky connections today. So the goal is, if there are no skewer blocks on the right-hand side branch of a fork, don't even bother drawing that connection and go straight to the next item if detour ID is present. So I got myself some coffee and let's write some code. For now, I commented it all out. This section responsible for rendering that connection. Don't get me wrong, we do need it, but first we need to make sure that there are any skewer blocks on the right-hand side. And in order to do that, let's take a sneak peek at the implementation of render prime. Yeah, this is exactly what we're checking, if there are no skewer blocks. And I also have some ideas about the positioning of blocks like that. So we don't have problems like these two lines passing by each other at a very short distance. But I'll talk about it sometime later. For now, let's focus on resolving these questionably looking connections. This will probably have to move sometime somewhere closer to this connection. The check is repeated for this, but it's fine for now. So it looks like we made a mistake. Let's just duplicate that logic, see what happens. But it looks like we should surround this if brackets. I know this code is not the prettiest out there, but it serves a purpose and we'll fix it later. Yeah, now it's better. So now we have these detour connections connecting us to wait for the next bus action. And it's fine. Let's try to experiment with this FST. No, sorry, that's wrong. We want the FST render right branch here still, because there could be a detour in the right branch connected icons, or connected skewer blocks, I think. Okay, so we still render this. Let's see how this would look if we just used mempty here. Okay, so in that case, we need to change the origin. See what we're doing here is this place is where we render a valent point, which is not really needed if we have a detour. So let's go to that function. And it's this piece. We have no skewer blocks, but if we have a detour, we should not be rendering the valent point. Let's see how that would look like. Okay, so we are rendering the detour, but from this point, which is not correct. We should be rendering the detour from the origin, I think. And also the origin will have to change then. So here we can just say y, because we don't have the valent point. And that should move the line a little bit higher. And it does, but it's still not high enough, because don't forget, the origin point is the point at which we would start rendering the we would start rendering the skewer blocks. That's not what we want. Let's check the connection that we would otherwise render here. We still need that connection here, though. But we'll get to this. Let's go with... So I'm expecting this line to go here, well, to this sort of x coordinate. Y is still incorrect. A little bit too far. I know this plus 0 is not necessary. I just don't want to forget that plus 1 used to be here. Let's just go with this, see what happens. I wonder, is X the correct position? Almost. Okay, now it's looking good. Now we need to lift it up by, I think, half a height, half a box height, bounding box height. Okay, this is looking good. So now we need to resolve this connection still. But before we do, let's allow these two lines, these two parallel lines to overlap. We'll deal with that later. The reason I want to let them overlap is I think I have an idea what to do with lines passing each other by so close to each other. I don't think this is a good look, and I would much rather have evenly spaced lines. And I think in order to achieve that, we would have to move blocks like this to the right, so that lines entering blocks always do so using a straight line going from the top, not like that. Straight line going from the top, and that way all entrances to the blocks will come from this neat straight line, and all exits will either be a loop back going to the right or a straight connection down. I think it will look more elegant. So in order to achieve that, I will need to remind myself how to render that connection back. So here we also need to check if there is a detour. If there isn't, we just render this normal connection. In case there is something, we let the FSD render prime right branch origin do the job. And then I can collapse these conditions a little bit better. But let's see if this works. Okay. This should not be rendered. This is right, detour ID. Sorry. And they disappear. All right, so this is looking well. This is looking well. This is looking well. Now, just for the fun of it, let's add an action here. Has the bus arrived? To the no section. Let's see how that connects. And let's retain this detour ID. Test. So I'm expecting this action to appear here, but also to have a detour leading us to wait for the bus. Okay, the lines overlap, but it's not the end of the world. We can resolve this. Okay, I don't like how it looks, but it will be a good test for the future, or a test case for the future. To do. Okay, now for the final thing today, I will now attempt to let these parallel lines overlap. Okay. I just need to remind myself where it was. Was it 55? I think this was it. Yes. All right. Oh, that line is longer than I thought. Okay, this is what I wanted. It's not ideal because the lines overlap, but what I'm thinking is if I move this one block width to the right, these this connection and this connection going into this will just go straight down. Maybe we can even do it right now. No, that's fine. yeah, it is shaping up. It is looking very clean, bar these two lines that overlap, but we can address this later. For now, let me just commit this. Still works. That's a good sign. I'm slightly worried. I'm not sure if you see this on your displays, but this line seems to be unnecessarily thick. So I fear there could be an overlap there, but it's fine. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. Let's leave it as it is for now. And in future sessions, we'll have to figure out a number of things. One, how to move this block to the right if there are detour connections going into it. And also, if a block is receiving a loop back connection from a detour, and also a regular connection as a result of, for example, a fork, we should push this down one block, or by the height of one block. And once that is done, I think then we can start worrying about how to come up with rules that would be checked against user input, and that would warn us if the rules are failed or false. They would warn us about lines potentially crossing. So, for example, if we wanted the snow to travel to the required stop, we couldn't, because it would have to go somehow like through here. I don't have a good way of doing that yet, but I'm sure we will find a way. In the meantime, I thank you all very much for watching. I wish you a fantastic weekend ahead. I hope you spend some time with your loved ones and you get some time to recharge. It's very important. And take care.